contemplate on such questions as, what is truth? How do we know what exists? Do I even exist? How did everything come into being? These questions have bridged the gap between the curiosity of the layman and the profound inquiries of the philosopher throughout the ages. Debate after debate, argument upon argument, spanning thousands of philosophical premises, all in the quest to answer these pivotal questions of the nature of existence. The roots of the transcendental arguments stretch back to Immanuel Kant, who employed transcendental reasoning to argue for the conditions that make experience possible. Yet Kant's exploration was not in search of the divine, but a critique to Scottish philosopher David Hume. It was Cornelius Van Til who, centuries later, would weave this thread of reasoning into the fabric of Christian apologetics, aiming to demonstrate the necessity of God for the possibility of coherent experience and rational thought. Our exploration brings us to the Transcendental Argument for God, abbreviated as TAG. This philosophical argument seeks to prove the existence of God by positing that logic, morals, and science ultimately presuppose a supreme being. It argues that without a divine foundation, the orderly nature of the universe, the objective standards of morality, and the principles of logic could not exist. TAG asserts that the existence of God is the necessary precondition for the intelligibility of experience and the possibility of knowledge. Let us delve into the 7 arguments and proofs that underpin this profound assertion. Foundation of logic and reason. Without God, the laws of logic and reason cannot have a foundation. The invariant, universal, and abstract nature of logical laws requires a transcendent grounding that atheistic or materialistic worldviews cannot provide. The Christian worldview posits a God who is logical and whose nature is the source of logic, providing the necessary precondition for the consistency and reliability of logical principles. Metaphysical realities. Abstract objects and metaphysical principles presuppose a metaphysical foundation. These entities, not contingent upon human minds, suggest a reality beyond the physical, which we attribute to God's mind. Belief in God is not blind faith but is grounded in rational, logical argumentation. TAG argues not from physical evidence but from preconditions of intelligibility itself. The very ability to reason and argue logically is presented as proof of God's existence, as these capabilities require a transcendental grounding. Moral absolutes. Objective. Moral values and duties presuppose a moral lawgiver. The Christian worldview, however, provides a basis for objective morality grounded in the character of God. Uniformity of nature. The uniformity and predictability of nature presuppose a rational orderer. This principle of uniformity, essential for science, cannot be justified by atheism. Instead, the Christian worldview justifies this principle by asserting a consistent and sovereign God who has established order, existence of the self, and other minds. The reality of personal identity and other minds presupposes a grounding beyond mere physical processes. Materialism struggles to account for personal identity over time, and the existence of other minds beyond one's subjective experience. The Christian God, however, provides the necessary basis for personal identity and the existence of other minds. Atheism, materialism, and other non-theistic worldviews fail to provide a coherent account for the preconditions of intelligibility. These worldviews, by showing their inability to account for logic, moral absolutes, the uniformity of nature, and other transcendental categories, fail in the necessary conditions for any rational thought processes to be consistent and coherent categorically. The direct result of such thinkers throughout the ages culminated in the climax and its philosophical ends, explained previously with Hume, who understood the inconsistency of those worldviews and grounded himself in skepticism. But the Christian worldview offers a coherent and comprehensive foundation for these preconditions. The Transcendental Argument for God presents a compelling case for the necessity of a divine foundation for the intelligibility of the universe and human experience. As we continue to ponder the profound questions of existence, this philosophical argument invites us to consider the implications of a reality where God is the ultimate precondition for logic, morals, and science. In the pursuit of truth, let us reflect on the profound implications of the Transcendental Argument for God.